everybody, how are you? John from Dowie Farm here. I'm coming to you in a time of crisis, I suppose. We're going to run this business right through the coronavirus outbreak and see what happens, but I just want to do a show for you and share what we're doing here to get through this. I was going to do a show 3-4 days ago on how to prepare for this, prepare your business for it, even though I know the event had already kind of started, but now it's obviously some of that's adjusted, some of that's changed. You know, it kind of is what it is. It would have been good to do a show to prepare for this a long time ago. I guess that probably goes without saying, but now here we are, we're in the middle of it, and the good thing is we can take what we learned from this and hopefully survive it, and business-wise, in a business sense, and learn from it and be prepared the next time this happens, because this probably will happen again at some point in some capacity. We've dealt with certain things like this in very small scale, such as snowstorms, blizzards, things like that here in New Hampshire, but we haven't dealt with just full-blown, hey, you are not going to sell stuff to your restaurants for who knows how long, hopefully a week, probably longer. So it's funny because I made notes for the show on Thursday, and I was fully anticipating on Thursday. I said to Jenny, I said, hey, we're not going to go to Boston next Friday, most likely. We're going today. We actually surprisingly had a good week last week, thank God. The week before was a little slow, but you know, that's just regular fluctuations. Sorry about the break there, folks. I had to turn off some fans. There's a little too much background noise in here, and I don't have a microphone yet that works with my GoPro, so here we are. Anyhow, last week on Thursday, I basically predicted we're not going to Boston next week, and I really just predicted that more out of a fears and business slowing for the restaurants we sell to, and frankly, the thing that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet much or at all is our product, microgreens, very low on the scale of importance when it comes to these restaurants. I really have always, one of my biggest fears has always been, if the economy declines, are we just going to go to business because this is the first thing they're going to cut off their food cost, is something that's essentially a garnish in many cases. So obviously there's a few things here and there where it's important to the dish and whatnot, but it's not the most important thing to a dish, and a lot of chefs are pretty creative. They can come up with ways to not use microgreens and save money. I've had it happen here and there with some restaurants that had a food cost press put on them essentially, and you know, I fear that that's a long-term result sometimes, where that's just going to happen and be the norm. So that's just kind of speaks to something I'm going to get into in a few minutes, which is diversifying your farm. Anyhow, obviously this situation affects our businesses hard. We most of us, I think, sell to restaurants. That's mostly our models. And here in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts, where I sell, restaurants are mandated to close by the government now, as of today in New Hampshire. I kind of saw it coming, like I said, in Massachusetts, but I didn't think it would happen in New Hampshire. And it did. So I really, at the time, was hoping, you know, or part of my contingency plan here was, you know, Mass is going to close. We'll lose 1/3 of our sales, but New Hampshire maybe will carry us through. And I was wrong. So be it. So I'm pretty much shut down this week as far as restaurant sales go. All the restaurants are still open for takeout, but let's face it, they're not going to garnish much for takeout orders. So I don't really anticipate too much unless there's something here and there that they have an integral ingredient, like in a salad or something along those lines. Yeah. So what do we do? What do we do? So the easy answer to me is, if you saw something like this coming a long time ago, would be to have a cash stash, an operations expense account with some extra money in it, with a month to 3 months of operating expenses. We can't all do that. Some of us operate with higher overheads, such as myself. Some people grow in your houses still, and you have a building, and that lowers your overhead quite a bit, and that's awesome. That would be my personal goal, is to do that, but I'm not there right now. Right now I'm leasing for $550, $600 a month, something like that, and I'm paying commercial electric rates in New Hampshire, which are really high. So right now my overhead, just building and electricity alone, is $1,000 no matter what. So I have to make that happen. That comes right off the bottom line. So I don't have that OpEx account like I should, all right? I have something going on. I have a little bit of money put aside. I have, you know, I guess in some ways, luckily, restaurants take 3 to 4 weeks to pay. So I have that, okay? I know it's not a great thing to rely on, but I will have 3 or 4 weeks of steady checks from restaurants coming in. Every single one of my restaurants pays this way. and they all take up to about 4 weeks, some a little longer. So that'll be fine to sustain me for 3 to 4 weeks, but that is not going to be fine for the 3 to 4 weeks after that, where I'm working my tail off to get stuff done and caught up. Let's just pretend we get back to it in 3 to 4 weeks here in this hypothetical, and I'm essentially working, for free for 3 or 4 weeks. So that's going to suck. But realistically, this time of the year, we're coming out of a slow period for us up here, at least for our sales trends. January, February are tough. We're coming out of it in March, and March usually is kind of in a saving our butt kind of mode. And now we're not going to see that. I did start seeing it last week where we did, we had an $1,800 week, and that's good. The week before was 12, but we did $3,000 in 2 weeks. $1,500 is our benchmark for now. So we had a good 2 weeks. It looked like it was going to recover. We probably would have had a pretty busy end of March, and now we're not going to. So hopefully what happens here is once this all settles and rebounds, we'll see some rebound in the economy, maybe, with people being shut in and wanting to get out. But it all just depends on the economy and people's financial health, right? All right, so what are our opportunities coming through this? Assuming everybody makes it through healthy, right? And I mean, I'm talking business-wise. I'm not here to talk about the coronavirus. I'm here to talk about emergency business operations, essentially, in a microgreens business specifically, or a small farm of any sort. But so when I say that, I'm talking financial business health. So right now for us, it's about diversifying our market. We've always been terrible at private sales, okay? It's meaning home, like your home customer. We've tried farmers markets, we've tried a little bit of Facebook ads, we've tried some Craigslist when that was a thing. We've never really tried the Facebook marketplace. I tried that today. I don't know if I'm gonna get any traction from it. I'm getting some shares, I'm getting some views and likes and whatnot, but who knows if that'll turn into anything. Obviously, and hopefully it doesn't come to this, if we get to a point where people are having trouble with the food supply chain, they're gonna look to local farmers. At some point, they have to, right? And hopefully we're still around if that happens. But, let's just hope it doesn't get there, right? That's not how I want to make my money. So I'd rather make my money up front here and before things are a problem, or, without things becoming a problem, right? So really, we're in the midst of a health issue, health in the global sense, or the, the population health, like their overall health, and people are probably looking to be a little healthier to boost their immune system. And I'm not here to make scientific claims about microgreens and whatnot, because I don't do that, but we all know that eating vegetables, eating greens, eating things that are high in nutritional value are going to help your immune system, and they are going to help your health. Now, I don't run around making claims about boost your immune system by eating microgreens, because like I said, that's not my cup of tea. I don't believe in any of that. It might be true. I can't prove it. I don't say it. So I will, though, say, listen, eat healthier, eat your greens, eat microgreens, things like that. We provide all these different varieties of vegetables, and you can really pack so many vegetables into one salad, and it's a great way to really, make your salad different, frankly, just, different ways. Like, salads get boring sometimes, so this is a way to spice them up. So that's a good way to go about your marketing, I think, as far as private sales go. We do have some private home sale customers. We just don't have anywhere near as many as restaurants. A big part of that is because I've never really focused on it. We sell to customers at a little bit of a reduced rate, like private home customers, at more of a lower per ounce cost than we do to restaurants, because I just don't feel good charging somebody $24 for 8 ounces of microgreens. So we offer a small, medium, large at $6, $12, and $20. All right, and basically it ends up being at about $2 an ounce. But we give that $20 level gets 12 ounces roughly of a basic green. The $12 level gets 6 ounces, and the small one gets like 3 ounces or 2.5. It's very small, but that little small one still gives 2 good salads. So. It's worth it. That's our farmers market pack. So one thing we've done is tried to do farmers markets. If you're in a place where you can do farmers markets, that's great. Right now, obviously, they're probably shut down, but maybe you've developed, that clientele. Ours has never materialized. We've run a CSA. It's just never been a thing. We have maybe 3 customers that came out of a farmers market. So 2 years of our local one. But anyway, if you can diversify your operation, that's a good way to go. So obviously, diversifying your customers is smart. Maybe diversifying your product line is the other thing you can do. or maybe obviously it's the other thing you can do to diversify. We sell duck eggs, quail eggs, chicken eggs, and then we sell for other local farms. We syrup and honey and mustards and all kinds of stuff. But what I really mean is your own on-farm diversification. So what are ways to diversify? You can grow different stages of microgreens. You can do that, but I still think you're in the microgreens category then. Maybe just getting into full-size greens is something you can figure out or do. That's something we're about to get into. I'm working on developing a hydroponic growing operation in our basement right now. Really what I'm working on is cleaning our basement right now, but that's obviously step one. Once you get a hydroponic growing system up and running, you know, you're 30 days, 40 days or so away from selling full-size lettuce, and in a crisis like this, that's probably going to be a much better seller than microgreens. Eggs, obviously, are going to be a huge seller right now because supermarkets are out of eggs. Unfortunately for us, it's March 14th or 16th, and ducks don't really lay eggs yet until about April in the Northeast. So I don't really have much for eggs. I had rats wipe out my quail population, so I don't have quail eggs. I have some chicken eggs, but my chickens have never laid consistently, and I've never been good at raising chickens. So, you know, I've got the birds out there. I'm not seeing that many eggs, but that would be a good way to diversify if you're getting eggs, and if it wasn't this time of the year for this situation. Yeah, but so, I mean, other variations of produce and eggs are good full-size produce, and then you know, you have your byproducts too. You could maybe sell the soil and whatnot just to get you through. Really, at this point in this situation, any dollar helps coming in. I do have a handful of private sales for the week. Thank God some of our people came through for us, and you know, but really we're going to do $300 in sales this week, which isn't even enough to keep the light on. So it sucks. Hopefully this blows over quick. So what if it doesn't blow over fast? All right, I'm taking this kind of as an opportunity. A lot of the reason is because I really don't have a choice to develop the room. I've been doing some transitional stuff, as you saw in one of my videos that I put out on YouTube about the harvest and grow room transition. Well, that area back there, I didn't finish setting up the new grow rack. I was kind of waiting on some paint to arrive. I bought some photocatalytic paint. I'm going to paint this horrible, ugly brown linoleum paneling, not linoleum, paneling, and with this paint that's supposed to kill mold and viruses and bacteria. So that's something to think about too. I'll let you guys know how it works. It's going to be interesting. So I mean, I guess I won't know if it's working for sure, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to set up that grow rack back there. I'm going to transition to the rest of the stuff in this grow room. I'm going to paint that wall. I'm going to work on my basement growing operation for full-size salad greens. And hopefully the idea is to come through this alive, business-wise, and stronger with a more diverse product line and a bigger offering. I already have the salad greens sold and it had, you know, in advance here essentially, because I've already built a customer base thanks to microgreens. But I just need to grow the stuff. And the reason I'm going to grow it myself is because I can't rely on other people to supply me, because I've never been able to, and they only grow seasonally because they row crop. I'm going to do year-round indoors because that's what we do as microgreen growers, right? We grow indoors year-round, so we should be good at it. So we'll see where it goes. So what if it gets real bad and it lasts a long time and we're not doing any real sales for a while? Let's just say real bad is 6 to 8 weeks in this case. I think my contingency plan, number one, is going to be to start negotiating bills. I'm not talking about your private finances. I'm talking about for the business here. My lease, essentially my lease is well, I have a 3-year lease now, but you know, it goes a year at a time or whatever. And on your lease agreement, there's a lump sum. So to me, that lump sum's due no matter what. It's split into monthly payments, but it's going to be due. So hopefully the lady that leases to me will understand what's going on. I can't imagine she wouldn't. And we'll take that number and we'll divide it up by a different number. Instead of 12 months, we'll divide it up by 9 months or whatever. And I'll hope to pay this month's lease and next month's and maybe the month after that, hopefully, to give me a little breathing room, spread out over the rest of the year. Hopefully that works. Obviously, electricity is a little different because she's paying for that up front, and I'm going to need to pay her for that. So it's like when you get your car worked on, if you can work a deal with the mechanic for the labor, you know, that's fine, but you're going to have to pay for the parts because he has to buy the parts, right? So hopefully I can negotiate that. Some other costs, I mean, that's fixed cost, essentially. You can, I mean, I don't have control over my electric bill here, so I can't really negotiate that. Although, if I did have control of my electric bill, I'm sure I could work on a budget plan for that too. Our other costs in life and with this business, I mean, seeds are paid for, soil is not 100% paid for, but half of it is. I do have a line of credit with the people that I buy my soil from and my duck feed, so that's good. I can kind of use that, even though I don't like to. You know, but you got to feed the ducks, and you got to plant the greens, right? So here we are. But yeah, just, you know, we have a mortgage, just, you know, personal stuff, finances, we have a mortgage at home, so that's part of the farm too, kind of. So maybe negotiating with a mortgage company or doing some sort of a, you know, forgiveness on a month or two where they roll the interest in, and it sucks to pay interest, but it's better to pay some interest than to go out of business probably. So that's what we're looking at doing. Credit cards are the same way. If you have debt that's unsecured in your business maybe, or even something secured, you could probably negotiate these debts. So I would say, for me, I'm going to ride this for another week or two, and I'm going to see what it looks like. I'm going to keep my hand on the pulse of this virus and this outbreak, or in any other situation, whatever the situation is. In this case, I'm just going to try to find the news that I can find that seems reliable, which seems to be very difficult these days, and I'm going to just kind of judge when it's going to lift, you know, and go from there. And if I think I'm getting to a point where it's just not going to happen, I'm going to have to start negotiating those costs, and hopefully we can pull through that way. If you don't pull through that way, the thing that sucks about that, you're going to be on the hook for that money in the end. But for me, with a lot of these things, I'm going to be on the hook for that money in the end anyway. So when they make me go back to being a restaurant manager, I'll have that debt hanging over my head. So be it. Another thing you can do, obviously, once you start to see it getting worse, is you can slow down your growing operation and really bring this thing to kind of a halt temporarily. I could get this thing to a point where I'm not using hardly any electricity, right? Maybe go down to one rack. As the weather starts to break, maybe just kind of rely on the weather without climate control, maybe just some ventilation. Kill the heat or AC or whatever you got going on. Maybe kill the dehumidifier and just blow some stuff out the window. I don't know. If you're not growing a whole lot of stuff in here, as far as I go, I probably don't need the dehumidifier anyway. If I get down to one rack, or I'm just supplying some private sales to maybe just pay a little bit of expenses, that could be a good thing. But I really don't want to get there. My goal right now is to grow straight through this thing. I don't want to miss a beat. But if I get into next week and it doesn't look like restaurants are going to start coming back within another week, I'm going to have to start scaling it back. So the one advantage we do have as microgreens growers, and I'll leave you on this note, is that we recover fast because we grow something that grows fast. So, you know, it sucks that I have this room full of crops that probably aren't going to sell, right? But the grand scheme of things, the cost of those seed, soil, and whatnot, it's really not that high. But it's the time investment usually, I guess, for a lot of these crops, 30 days on the shelf, paying for electricity and whatnot. But if we're scaling it down, it's really not that big of a deal. Let's say we get scaled down to a point where we really don't have hardly anything growing. We're 10 days, right? From peas, sunflowers, radish, salad blend. 4 huge crops right there. Borage, another 5th, right? Although I'm out of borage seeds. I'm not buying them right now. But we're 10 days from massive crops. And obviously, when we get back into the swing, if it looks like there's going to be demand, overplant those things, right? Then we are 14 to 17 days away from cilantro and some of the flavored basils, like your regular, your cinnamon, lime, and lemon basil. Your chervil is about 14 to 17 days away. Your green sorrel is 14 to 17. There's a lot of that. Your arugula is in that window too, at that 14-day window or so. So there's a lot of crops that you can be totally back online with within about 2 weeks, right? And the way delivery days fall, we'll just call 17 days 2 weeks, because, you know, you might be able to buy a little time. You might also just miss the window, but we do 2 a week, so it's really not a big deal. Then you're 4 weeks out from everything, right? So you're great. Within a month, you're back into full swing. Within 10 days, you're back to making money. So that's the bright note. That's the upside of being a microgreens farmer, is you can just spring back into action, whereas a lot of other farmers can't do that because maybe they have long-grown crops and whatnot. Of course, a lot of the farmers might just carry long-grown crops through, so there's that too. I have stuff that I just planted this week that takes 4 weeks to grow, and if it lifts in 3 weeks, I'll still have stuff coming out faster. That's the other side of this. Even if I scale down my climate control and whatnot, that stuff might make it through. I've never actually tried it, but it might make it. Anyway, those are all my thoughts on contingency plans and how to maybe get through a lean period like this whether it's induced by an emergency or just lulls in business and whatnot. Hopefully you guys are faring well. We're not, frankly. We're going to lose a ton of money this week. I'm going to be out like $1,500, and most likely the same story next week. I doubt that private local sales are going to save my butt, but I don't intend on going under either. I'm just going to keep growing. We're going to keep powering through. We're going to see what happens. Anyway, that's what I got. I know I went a little long here on you guys, 20-some minutes. I don't like to do that to you, but had a lot to cover. So be it. And, you know, with this slow period, I'm going to have some time to edit videos, so that's a bright note. Anyway, if you like what you see, check me out on Patreon. I'll probably release this as a general YouTube video. I'm a little behind the curve. I'll give it to Patreon first, and then that's that. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate your support. Have a good day, and good luck.